Right, are you ready?
Yes.
Right. Good evening, everyone. For those of you who do not know or already know me, I am Michaela's younger sister, Yvonne. Unless by the end of this speech you are all asleep, in which case I'm younger sister called Jo. Firstly, and most importantly, I'd like to address the newlyweds and say, wow, you both look absolutely stunning and beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for inviting us. You can clap if you like. Thank you for inviting us and letting us be here today and share with you today in today. I'm sure everyone will agree when I say so. I won't do that. But you've done yourself proud, and what an amazing day, thank you very much. And thank you to everyone else for attending and helping create such a magical day for both of the couples.
Too late, you see them.
When I was asked to put a speech together, I was extremely proud and excited. Admittedly, I thought it would be a pinch of salt and an absolute doddle. I flourished with ideas, some funny and some emotional. When the time came to put pen to paper, I realised just how impossible a task this could be. You see, my big sister Michaela is not only amazing, but to tell you the truth, to tell all the stories, and every story, I would need to be here a while and some. Plus, apparently, I'm only allowed a certain time limit. Because you all want to go drinking and dancing. You want to go as well, don't you? So after a basketball of screwed up one-word pieces of paper, I decided to give it a modern twist and write an acrostic name eulogy speech. Fingers crossed I've spelled her name right. Check before I haven't now. But if I haven't spelt the name right, my name was Jo. Emma's for Michaela, Mum, to Paul, Brittany and Tony. When our nan died, Michaela became a surrogate mum to me. A fast-approaching teenager, as the world I knew had fastly fallen apart. Michaela and I set about getting through our first year together. I appreciate now how hard for a young lady this must have been, especially now I have my own teenager. Well, John, in my opinion, you have met an excellent catch. One wickedly funny lady, whose most generous, passionate nature overrides any abilities or selfishness. One who once said to me late one night after I kept into her bed, once again, that she would give up her own young life to spare the death of our nan so that I could find a solace and stop my pain. Only now, as an adult, do I realise it was in this impressionable time of my life, that you helped set my morals for the future life, and I thank you. I is for incredible and independent. I have never met another woman who has set such an example of independency. As long as Michaela knows it is possible for her to do the task independently, only then will she accept help from others. A woman who has worked and fight for her family and studied at university to further herself. Caring, C is for caring. When our nan was alive, Michaela regularly visited, in fact every day, to check on us. Every other day, Michaela and I would have to invent some ingenious story to distract my nan for a couple of minutes so that Michaela could sneak into the cupboard under the stairs and pop 50 pences into the electric meter without Nan knowing. Nan was a proud woman, and if we had been caught, we would have been for the high jump. We had the best electric tariff in the country. H is for heart-happy working woman. Michaela from the onset knew what she wanted for her family. Michaela set her goals high and has achieved them, and so much more. Michaela loves to make people happy. My favourite memory is window shopping in Chester, and Michaela was hopping the car to and fro and sideways. I have never laughed so much as I did. It's one of my happiest, cherished memories as a teenager. A is for alien. Did you know my sister is really an alien? Yes. From as soon as Michaela could talk, Michaela could fill any void with her ambitious, imaginative storytelling. And one of them stories Michaela would often tell everyone was how the aliens left her here on planet Earth to be raised by humans and report back to them. So, John, if you ever wake up at night time and see that shining light, E is for electrically and emmatically charming, always the first to be on the dance floor with their crazy party moves, and always full of energy energy, with a wicked sense of humour, as you all know from when she sent out the invitations. Only I didn't read mine until today. So, if anybody wants to swap some dollars for a 50-inch 3D plasma TV screen, it's in the back of my car. I'm up to E. L. I spelled it right. L is for loyal, devoted, best friend. My children often ask me who my best friends are in life. My answer is always the same. My children and my sisters and brothers. It does not matter how far apart or how long it's been. When I need a friend, Michaela, you are always there. A is for a very special sister, daughter, granddaughter, niece, cousin, auntie, friend, mum, and now a wife. John, I very proudly stand here with my hand on my heart and say to you, you have an absolutely amazing woman. Michaela, to you, I would like to say how amazingly proud your family are of you. I am glad and thankful to have had you as a role model and that you have been such an influence in my life. As you and John embark on your new journey as man and wife, I am sure you will both exceed and flourish all the way. To my darling sister, I think you have not only accomplished your mission, but exceeded with honours. John, I'd like to welcome you to the madhouse. If my good friend and your son was here today, I'm sure he would say this. Mum, you look beautiful. I am so proud of you. I love you. John, you have the best woman. Continue looking after her and congratulations. And his broad smile would certainly tell us all. If you like to know more, you'll go, Billy.
Good afternoon, everybody. Everybody all right? Yeah. Good evening. Working. Good evening. It's evening now. It's afternoon. I've lost track of time. We've been in this room. This isn't easy, by the way, because it's not easy doing it scripted, is it? But here we go. We do it together. Yeah. Here we go. Right. At school, there was a very shy girl who said she was actually brainier than myself, but go on, say it. The only problem was she wouldn't look at you, or never mind, she wouldn't even talk to you, never mind. She was that shy, literally. In time, we became like brother and sister, and to this day, nothing has changed. Back then, we had our little posse, and we used to ride onto the estate on our bikes to see the girls. Michaela, Suzanne, and Carol at the time. Carol couldn't be here today. At that time, she fancied a guy who looked a bit like John, actually. Slight resemblance, you know what I mean? She had his posters all over the bedroom wall. I mean, well, you couldn't actually see the bedroom wall for posters, really. If I remember right, that first love's name was George Michael. Michaela's religion was Wham. That was the religion. I wonder if you remember that then, yeah. A few years on, and she progressed to her first home of her own. I moved in as my parents had retired out of the area. I had my own room, and in this palace of a pad, to be truthful, it was like the house from the Young Ones. Not the Cliff Richard Young Ones. Remember the Young Ones? That's what it was like, believe you me. It was balmy, literally, but we were young. We were so poor we had no carpets to start with. Literally had no carpets to start with. And we even had to have a bath together. Do you want to take over then, okay? Well, I thought it was a good idea one night to kick the bathroom door in and get in the bath with her. So I think it was some sort of bet that we had at one point.
I did have a bikini on, I'll be honest.
No, not that time you didn't. Anyways, from then onwards, you bathed in an underwear, didn't you? Really, I remember that bit. Anyways, we used to just pop into the bathroom.
Was that a water meter in them days? She was too busy, you know. I was looking to peas and like.
Oh, was that what it was? It was too busy. All right. It wasn't going on the water, was it? That's why we shared it. So, literally, we had carpets at the end, though, didn't we? We got carpets.
We did got carpets.
Took us a while, like. Took us a while. The carpet shop wrong, but we got it. At that time, I had my first car, a little old red Vauxhall Chevette. Remember them? A little Vauxhall Chevette. The little red one we had. It was cool, wasn't it? Vauxhall Chevette. And me, Michaela, and baby Paul would cruise around town in our little red fire engine, as we called it, visiting friends and shopping. We really didn't have a care in those days. Literally, it was just a long time ago. Literally. But may I move on to Michaela's culinary expertise?
No.
No. Now, I'm no Gordon Ramsay, but I'm definitely sure he'd have some coarse words to say about it. Michaela, I've got a question for you now. What were we eating?
It was stew, not curry.
Was it stew or curry?
It was definitely stew.
We've had this argument for all these years now.
No, 20 odd years, it was stew.
Was it stew? Was
It
it?
was stew with lentils and barley, but it wasn't curry.
Apparently. No. Well, lentil soup. I mean, I don't know. It was something, but I thought it was curry. We've been eating for all them.
One day, she was teaching me how to spin, take the figure eight. And then the house, the kitchen went off fire. She created holes and eyes, beans from terms. Went to go stand in the kitchen, outside, in this little yard. 15 minutes while she was there.
And she burnt it and got rid of the smoke. I've seen that, don't worry, I've seen that. Anyway, we ate it. So it was stew then, yeah? Right, we ate it anyway, because that's all we actually had at the time. That shy girl from school soon developed a wicked side. That wicked side came out one day when I got home, and there was a little note on the fireplace saying, I'm at a friend's house, and to pop round. I'd never been to his friend's before. She knows what's coming. I call round. You know the saying, stitched up? I got stitched up, literally. At that age, I got stitched up. I won't go into detail, as we've just actually eaten, but there was rather a strong smell when I got to the front door of this house. I can't go into too much detail, we'll get sued. We could actually get sued.
Oh, you did it.
And I definitely won't go into detail. What?
It was poo on the floor.
I don't say that. I definitely won't go into detail about what was on the floor, and she knew that was coming then, in the doorway, and that was inside the door.
Oh.
But you've just eaten.
But it's okay, the dad moved it, but it was full when you went.
Oh, don't tell me. Yeah. I stood at the door, and the guy stood there in his red St. John's ambulance thing. I shouldn't really have said that then, should I? Really? And he stood there, and I looked at him, and he looked at me. I said, Michaela here? He said, yeah, I heard the voice inside. And I looked down, and there's a turd. I wasn't supposed to say this, but I'm saying it now. And I looked at this turd on the floor, and I was like, right. I looked at the guy, and the guy looked back at me, and I looked at the turd, and he looked at the turd. And you know what he did? He pushed it to one side, and it slid along the floor, leaving a mark. But we wouldn't get it, he was killed, believe me. Right? But he pushed it to one side like it was an everyday thing. I said, come on in.
Entrance is clear.
I went, stepped over the jobbing. It happened. Anyway, when we went over to now. I knew that was going to come out somewhere along. I was trying not to say that. Inside out. Anyway, somebody made me go inside. And guess who that was? I knew. Me nostrils, the hairs in my nostrils were burning with the smell. It's unbelievable. Put it this way. If this was nowadays, it would be like this week's cast from the Jeremy Kyle show. Or as my mate Dave Spikey, the comedian, says, we were proper dobbers. I don't know if you know what that means, by the way. So then the years go by, I do my usual and go AWOL, which is what I do from time to time. And Michaela, being Michaela, finds me. She finds me in some jungle or some country somewhere. It's got like a built-in George, like radar, and she just sort of finds me in places. And it's like I just appear again. Then normally shouts at me, and that's what she does all the time. She shouts at me. She just shouts. That's it. Tells me off. Then in life came along the two stunningly beautiful daughters, Tony and Brittany. Indeed, they're over there. Indeed. And life moves on for both of us. On a visit with the girls to see me in Benidorm, she tells me about a guy she's met, all excited. If I remember right, it was something champagne and strawberries or something. Am I right? Am I right? My memory's not that good, don't forget these days. Or something like that anyway. A time later, she calls me to say she's going to bring this guy over to see me, meet me in Benidorm. So all excited, they turn up. The only problem was, I didn't meet them before my show to go on stage. I was actually on stage when they came in. Well, I was in the dressing room, they came in, went on stage, and I was sitting there. They were sort of sitting to the right-hand side, I remember right at the front, to the right-hand side. I was then sitting there on stage, at my piano, and I remember thinking to myself, I wonder what this guy must think. Because I'm sitting there, dressed as Elton John, with a wig on, full costume, everything, and he's not actually really met the real me yet. So that's it was a bit odd really to start with anyway, that was it. I'd like to have met him beforehand, but it didn't actually happen. But it is a bit of an odd thing to do really. But anyways, we met after the show, and for the rest of their stay, I got to know John really well since our first meeting, and as they visited me in Spain virtually every year since. Then in 2008 my son Daniel was born, and he calls Michaela his special grandma, as my parents are no longer with us. That's what he called her. I knew, because my parents are no longer around, like so. That's it. But all I've got left to say at the end now is I welcome John into the family, and for both of them to have a happy and loving future together.
Yeah.